Hi, I'm Patricia, and welcome to my creative space. Today we're going to try to create liquid gold looking pendants. And here I've done one in Sculpey liquid gold polymer clay. And it didn't quite give me the look I was hoping for, but it's still beautiful, I think. Today I want to try to create a couple different more with some other products. I am going to be using a nail gel liquid to put over the polymer clay and set my flakes in it. And I'm also going to be using a spider webbing gel. So let's get started. Today I'm going to be using some colors from ojoycreationsinc.com. Here's the number you want to look for, but I will have the link in the description box below. Here you can see I've already cut out my piece of clay, and now all I need to do is bake it in the oven at 275 for 1 hour, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this is out of the oven, and now I will get everything ready to put the shells on. Okay, and now I'm going to use my nail gel painting drawing UV gel nail polish, and I'm going to cover my whole pendant. Okay, and now I'm going to use my Rhinestone picker dotting tool to put my shelf flakes on. Okay, now I'm going to take the painting gel and I'm going to go around the shelves, trying to create a 3D look. And it didn't really come out how I wanted it to look because it just kind of spread. I think what I should have done was, as I was going along, I should have cured it under the light a little bit at a time, and I think it would have come out a lot better. Okay, I'm just about done here, and I'll stick it under the UV light for a couple minutes and see what we get. Okay, here it is out of the UV light, and I have to tell you it's a little bit tacky and I am still getting gold everywhere. So it obviously didn't cure as well as I was hoping it was going to. I thought the shell was thin enough that the light would go through it and get that layer that was on the bottom to hold them in. Probably what I should have done was gone over it and set them in liquid polymer clay and then did the nail polish. Okay, I just got done wiping it down with an alcohol wipe. And now that the top is done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint the edges with the same gel nail polish. And now that the sides are all painted, I'm going to use my Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss on it. I'm going to go ahead and coat the whole thing all at once since it's not a really smooth surface. I think it will stay alright, we'll see. But yeah, I'm just going to do the whole thing at once so it don't look off, because I can see that the gold is blending with the magic gloss. So I'm going to do the whole thing. Okay, now we're out of the UV light and it's very tacky still. So I'm going to wipe it down with some more alcohol. Try to get that tackiness off there. And I'm going to go over it again with another coat of the magic gloss. So here I am doing my second coat of Lisa Pavelka's Magic Gloss. I'm going to zoom in for you so you can see it a little bit better what I'm doing. You can see how dull it is after I clean it with the alcohol. So I need to get that second coat on there for sure because it's still tacky. And hopefully the second coat will do it. And I'm going to be doing the whole thing again. Today I just got my Savvyland Nail Gel Spiderweb Gel. And we're going to try this out today. But for now, my first one just came out of the UV light, and this time it's much better covering. I have to say I'm very pleased with it. For all the trouble that I had, I'm pleased that it came out, and that I didn't waste a bunch of everything, because it still looks nice. There you can notice there's a little bit of haze with it though, because that gold was still coming out from underneath the shell. So, yeah, that again is the what we're going to do with the new one. I'm going to coat it with the liquid polymer clay first, put my shell on, bake it, and then we'll go with the spiderweb gel. So let's get moving on that. So here to show you what I'm using the Gold Sculpey liquid polymer clay. I'm going to be putting the same shell in it, not the colored ones that I did on my first one. I'm going to be using Joy's cutter again. And I'm going to run my clay through on a setting 2. Okay, now I just want to make sure that my clay is good and on my tile. No air bubbles or anything like that. And then I will cut the piece out once I'm sure there's no air bubbles. So just placing my cutter where I want it, applying a little bit of pressure here. Find my acrylic block. Apply some more pressure, wiggle it around a bit, do a little bit more wiggling. It seems to really cut it out real nice if you can wiggle it a bit. You get a really nice cut. As I've said before, no cutter is perfect in getting all the clay away. Now I'm going to apply my liquid polymer clay after I stir it up real good. And I got a barbecue skewer here that I'm using to stir it up, making sure that it's good and mixed around. Now I'm just going to take my brush and go down the stick and apply it to my clay. That way I'm not wasting any. Now it really don't take that much to do this part, so this may be enough on here for me. Okay, so I've zoomed in and I've also added some more of the liquid polymer clay. I just want to make sure I have enough. If I have too much on there, I can always scrape it off with my brush and put it back in the bottle. No big deal. There we go, that looks good. I think that'll do it. And now we'll start adding our shelf flakes. And now I'll bake it at 275 for 1 hour. And here it is out of the oven, and as soon as it cools, we can add the spider gel. And now that it's all cooled off, we are ready to add the spider gel. And I think here before I add the spider gel, I'm going to go ahead and trim some of that extra edge off that was left behind. And I'm just going to do that with my little X-Acto knife here. Okay, now we're going to add the spider gel on here. And I'm going to stir it a bit. Get it wrapped around my little barbecue skewer here. Just get a little bit of it. And then go around each cell piece. And kind of what I figured out later on doing this is that it was easier to do a few and then cure it under the UV light and then add some more and cure it and so. I wish I would have done the whole thing that way. It probably would have come out a whole lot better. So just a tip for you there. Put a little bit on, then cure it. Put a little bit more, cure it again till you're done. And here around my first one, you can see I put it on probably way too thick, and it starts to run, and I totally lose that shell underneath the webbing gel. You can get it that thick, but I would cure it right away. That's what I should have done. And while you're doing this, it will string. That's what it's supposed to do, because it's like a webbing gel is what it is. And you get these long strings, and I just kind of go back and forth, as you can see, until that webbing breaks. And then I do that on my pendant as well. You can see me doing that there. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom in here so you can really see what I'm doing, hopefully, a lot better. As you can see, I touch it and then pull, touch it and then pull. So just keep doing that touch and then pull until you've used all your gel. And I find that works really well with it on this pendant. And here in a little bit, I will be popping it into the UV light as I go. That way it stops running, because you can see I lost that whole top shell there by not curing it as I went along. So yeah, big tip, cure as you go. Okay, now it's all done out of the UV light, and it does feel a little bit tacky to me. So I'm going to take an alcohol wipe, which is 70% alcohol, and I'm just going to wipe it down a touch and see if I can get that stickiness to go away. Okay, the tackiness has come off really nicely. So now I'm going to use Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss to resin it as I did the other ones. And I'll just show you this again real quick. Sped it up so it's not too boring for you. And because of the way the pen is not, it's not a smooth flat surface, so I'm going ahead and covering the whole thing. And it actually didn't do too bad doing that. So that's what I did this time. I think I did the other pendant that way too, was just cover the whole thing all at once and cured it under the UV light and then did a second coat. And don't forget to go over it with a torch and pop all the bubbles. It works great with Lisa Pavelka's Magic Gloss. The bubbles just pop right away. So don't forget to do that. And don't forget, you can get your Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss over at tinypandora.com. And I will have that in the links below. And here I'm checking it out, and for some reason it does feel a little bit tacky, so I am going to go over it again with an alcohol wipe and then add the second coat of resin. And again, like with the first coat, I'm going to coat the whole thing. And don't forget to take your torch and pop them bubbles. Very easy to do with the Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss. Okay, now they are all done, and they come out great, I have to say. This one was just with the liquid Sculpey gold, and it come out really nice. Like I said, I did this one with the collared shells, as you can see. Some abalone shells in there. And then the other two were done with the regular shell colors, muted shell colors, I guess you would say. And they come out really good. That second coat did a great job on this one. It's not sticky. I didn't have to go over it with any alcohol. So you can see it come out really nice. Okay, and the other one, it's not too bad. I don't think under the shell that they were see-through enough to actually get under there and cure the gel nail polish. Because it did give it kind of a haze because it was still wet in the areas. So if I did this one again, I would definitely put the shells on with the gold liquid polymer clay and go from there. Okay, now I'm just going to sand the backs to make them look a little better. They're not going to look great because it's done with the gold and it's got all that mica in it. And it's kind of going to make a mica shift depending on how much I can actually take down with the 400 grit. That's what I start with. So we'll see. Okay, and here I'm starting my sanding. I'm using a Petty wand, which I got the idea from Day over at Cayenne Design. And I will have that link in the description below. So I start with 400 grit and I go all the way up to 10,000 grit. Okay, now they've all been sanded, and now it's time to drill the holes in them. But here's what I'm talking about, see? Because it's mica, I kind of got a mica shift. It didn't take it down too much. So I am stuck with that look on the back from the tile. And you can see where it had little air bubbles in it on the tile. So that don't bother me per se, but if it does bother you, you can put a coating of liquid clay on the back, like the gold liquid clay on the back. That would hide that pretty well. So yeah, you could do that. You could sand it first, and then before you do all your resining, sand it down, put your liquid clay on it, go from there. Okay, now I'm going to drill the holes in them, and I'm using my pin drill today because my drill master has died. I really prefer, if I'm going through shell, to use my drill master, but like I said, it died for some reason, so I'm using my pin drill. And to my surprise, it went through it easy enough, so no problems there. Just show you how I do it here. I like to go through the front and the back several times just to make sure I get that hole nice and pretty. I don't want it to be, all messy and ugly looking. So I go through the front, through the back, through the front, through the back, until I get it exactly where I want it. Stretches this out just a little bit bigger than the drill itself, because I kind of go through and do a saw-in action after a little bit, and it comes out real nice. And here you can see how nicely it turned out, front and back. Okay, now I've got my findings, and I'm going to start working on this one. It's a little wonky, so I'm going to straighten it up. I'm going to use my pliers and fix this. So I'm going to spread it out first with my pliers. Hopefully, if I can get it, there we go. And then I'm just going to tweak it to straighten it up. Sorry, I keep going off camera while I'm trying to do this. It's a little bit hard trying to straighten things up and trying to see what you're doing. Alright, and I think that's pretty much got it there. Making sure I'm going to put it in the right side because the top of the veil has writing on it, so I want to make sure I put that to the back. Okay, and I'm just going to put my pinch bell in here as soon as I get my camera where I want it. Making sure I'm at the right side. Slip that through one hole, flip it over, and squeeze it closed. And there we go. And that's all there is to those. So if you gotta fix a wonky one, that's how you can fix it. Just working on it, straightening it out. I don't like to let anything go to waste. Okay, now next I will do my bright gold ones. Pretty much the same thing. It's straight though, so there's no straightening anything out here. Spread it open. Make sure I have it on the right side. And then put it through the hole. Make sure it's wide enough to go over it. Sometimes you gotta spread them out pretty far. and put it through one side and then the other. And that's all there is to it. And I'll do the same with the other one. Okay, as you can see, all three have their pinch bells on them. And I've got my cords all cut. They are cut to 17.5 inches to make an 18-inch necklace. So I'm doing them all a little bit different at the ends. So I'm going to show you each one, and I will try to make it quick as possible. Okay, and this one I'm going to put my crimp ends on here. I'm going to trim off a little bit of the cord so that I can pass it through more easily. Trim each side just a bit because I've been having trouble with it fraying out real big and having a hard time getting it through the hole. Because they're supposed to be crimp ends, but mine do not crimp, so I have to glue them in. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. So here's my crimp ends, and I've got my glue. I'm using E6000. I've been told super glue is better, so I might start using super glue on them. I did have one come out once, so that could be why. I might need the super glue. So I might try that on my next ones that I do. So I got it all spread on there, and then I'm just going to kind of twist it to get it up in there. Push it through the top just a smidge, and then pull it back down a little bit. And that's all there is to it. And then I will do the other side. So same thing. Squeeze out a little dab of glue. Put it on the end of my cord. And it starts drying up real quick. So I try to be quick with it. And just like the other one, I'm going to twist that through there if I don't get it stuck all over me first. Twist it up into there. It wants to fight me a little bit. Having a hard time getting it up in there. Then push it up through top a little bit and then pull it back down. Making sure you get the whole thing all good and glued. So there's that one. Now this one I am going to do, I am not sure exactly what they're called, to be honest with you. I guess they're kind of a crimp end also. You have to crimp it closed. They are the flat ones, is what they are, with the little hole on top. So you put that onto your cord. I like to lay my cord in it and kind of hold it with my fingernail if I can get it to stay where I want it to stay. And then I use my pliers to fold each side over, and to be honest with you, I don't know why I didn't do it here, but usually I use my crimper tool to close these because it's got that hook, kind of hooks on it, and makes it a lot easier to close. It's easier with these pliers. The bent pliers, it's a lot easier, and I can do it, but it's real easy if you don't have these to use the crimping tool if you have one of those, which most of us do. When we do jewelry, you can also use that. That's what I used for years before I got these. So I'm just making sure that it's all good and closed. And that's all there is to that. And I'll do the other side the same way. So just trying to slide it up in there. Making it stay is the hard part. So try to fold that one side over on it. Get it good and clamped down. And then the other side. And sometimes it really is a lot easier with the crimper tool. I wish I would have gotten it out to show you how I do that, but I didn't. I didn't think about it since, like I said, since I've had the bent nose pliers. So, and that one's done. Okay, and now this last one here will be done with Accuflex beading wire. So it's a little bit different. There's what I'm using, Accuflex 49 strand softest drape, midnight black. Get me a couple of crimp beads here. Got a few too many. Gotta put some back. Okay, and then I will grab my Charlottes. Put my Charlotte on first. And then I will take my bent nose pliers. Pick up a crimp bead. Try to put it in a hole there. Sometimes you don't always go as planned. There we go. Have a little bit still sticking out. Crimp it closed. I like to do it on both sides to make sure it's good and crimped closed. Don't want it to go anywhere. Pull up my Charlotte, give it a little tug, and close it up. And I'll take my pliers and make sure that it's all good and even. Straighten it out if I need to. Make sure those holes are lined up. Pinch it closed. This one keeps wanting to go wonky on me for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. Got it all nice and straight now. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. Grab my Charlotte, put it on first. If I could keep a hold of things. Grab my crimp bead. If I can find it. It went flying. Put it through there. Leave a little bit sticking out. Squeeze it closed. Make sure I get it on both sides. Give it a little tug to make sure that it's good and secure. And then close my Charlotte. Make sure everything's lined up good. Squeeze it closed. Make sure my holes are aligned. That's all there is to it. And now I will put on my jump rings and my claw clasp. And then we'll be done. So to open a jump ring, most of us know. Twist it one way and the other. Put it on there. Twist it one way and the other to close it up. Most times you will hear a click when it's good and closed. You don't all the time. So make sure that it's good and closed. Make sure there's no gap. If you don't hear it, make sure there's no gap. Pardon me. Same thing with the other one. Put my claw clasp on it, put it through the hole of my Charlotte, and close it up. Making sure I have no gap. And I want to close them up. And there we go. That one's all done. Now I'll work on the other ones. Same thing with those. Put them on same way as I did the first one, so I'm not going to drag you through all this and make you watch it, because this part's pretty much the same. Okay, and here they are, all done and ready to go. So, if this tutorial was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I also have a Facebook group, Trisha's Lovely Creations. I hope to see you there. Thanks. Have a great day.